It is Sunday, June 1st, 2014. I'm here in front of the Unitarian Church of Montreal, engaged in my alternative spiritual practice of protesting against Unitarian, Universalist clergy abuse of all kinds, both non-sexual and sexual forms of clergy misconduct. I'm also protesting against the anti-religious intolerance and bigotry of the fundamentalist atheist faction of Unitarian Universalist. So I'm not saying every atheist Unitarian Universalist is a anti-religious bigot, but a certain subset of Unitarian Universalist atheists most certainly are anti-religious. But we're going to be dealing primarily with clergy sexual misconduct today, because today is the second anniversary of being falsely accused of the crime of blasphemous libel by the Unitarian Universalist Association for allegedly making unfounded and vicious allegations to the affected ministers of the Unitarian Universalist Association engaged in such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape. 2 years ago today, Friday, June 1st of 2012, I was accused of this crime of blasphemous libel by... Hi there.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine.
Nice day to be fine.
What?
Nice day to be fine.
That's nice day to be... This is, yeah, well, it's hilarious. We're talking about pedophilia and rape here, my friend, and the fact that the UUA is accusing me of blasphemy for talking about it.
Well, aren't you a heretic?
Do you think it's funny that the UUA is accusing me of blasphemous libel to cover up pedophilia and rape? Do you think that's a joke?
No, I don't think that's a joke. I'm
Good.
just asking if you're a heretic.
Right, well, you're avoiding the question.
I answered the question. I said no, of course
Right.
not.
So what are you going to do about it?
Me?
Yeah, what are you going to do about the fact that the UUA is misusing Canadian blasphemy law to cover up pedophilia?
UUA?
What?
That's the Americans.
Yes, it's the Americans. Exactly. You know
What do you want me to do? I'm a Canadian. I'm part of the CUC.
Right. So it's not your problem that the Americans are misusing Canadian blasphemy law to cover up pedophilia and rape?
That's the Americans for you.
That's the Americans for me.
Yeah.
Right. David, what's the seventh principle of Unitarian Universalism?
Don't pick your nose when you're driving.
Right. And what's the second principle of Unitarian Universalism?
A free and thinking individual rights. What is the second principle?
It is seeking justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. So you think, as a Canadian, you can just turn a blind eye to Americans perverting justice by misusing our blasphemy law. It's not your problem.
It's a different country.
Oh, it's a different country. Aren't they Unitarian Universalists?
Yes, they are.
Right. Don't they...
So if you go to the States, you're going to get arrested and be charged as a heretic?
No. They are threatening to have me charged as a heretic up here. And not as a heretic, but as someone who's guilty of blasphemy.
Blasphemy?
Yes, blasphemy. That's what blasphemous libel means.
Oh, blasphemous libel.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. So it's not your problem that American Unitarians are misusing our law to try and silence someone about clergy sexual abuse.
But have you libeled anybody specifically?
I haven't. That's why I said it's a false charge.
Well, there you go. Then you have nothing to worry about. Okay?
I don't have anything to worry about, but the fact of the matter is, this is your religion misusing our blasphemy law. You seem to think you don't have anything
How
to
do you
worry
know they're misusing it? It hasn't been driven to court yet.
They haven't taken it to court because they would look like idiots if they did, David.
So then why are you complaining about that? If they're not,
I'm complaining about perversion of justice. See this picket sign here? Perversion of justice? Yes.
Well, if they haven't done nothing, how can they be perverted justice?
They have done something by making the accusation. The accusation alone.
You accuse
the
us.
accusation alone.
You accuse us of shit too.
Well, you're guilty of shit too.
Oh, but it hasn't been proven.
Yes, it has actually. You just don't. You just bury your heads in the sand as you normally do.
The action against you that hasn't been proven.
Yes.
But action against us has been proven.
Well, amongst other things, you've had me falsely arrested for allegedly disrupting church services. It's been proven that I didn't do that. It was proven in a court of law when the prosecutor could not prove one single point of law out of the 4 or 5 he had to prove to attain a conviction.
Isn't that nice to know that you're in a place where justice prevails?
Yeah,
so
well,
why are you complaining then?
I'm complaining about your behavior, and I'm complaining about
My behavior?
Yeah. Well, you know what behavior I've complained about in the past, don't you? You remember that, don't you?
I'm not a bad person. Am I a bad person?
You're an idiot right now, as far as I'm concerned. You're a fool. You're totally.
I'm an idiot and a fool.
An idiot and a fool. You're an idiot and a fool for talking to me while the camera's running and basically making a total mockery of everything Unitarian Universalism is supposed to stand for. You don't even know the principles you supposedly uphold. Yeah. I asked you to name the 7th, you couldn't name it. And I asked you to name the 2nd, you came up with some garbled version. You don't even know what your principles are. And you're looking like a fool because it is a fact that Unitarian Universalists down in Boston are making a total mockery of principles, and it affects the whole Unitarian Universalist. This reflects on you and every other Unitarian Universalist when the UUA makes false accusations to try and cover up clergy abuse, and people like you pretend nothing's wrong or it's not your problem. Because that's what you're doing. You're pretending it's not my problem, oh, it's the Americans. You don't even, it's like, I guess you shouldn't complain about anything that happens south of the border in that case. It's none of your business if the Americans do something, because, hey, you're a Canadian.
Oh, I mean, like I said, do something for the Americans.
You could do all kinds of things, and so could every Canadian Unitarian Universalist. You could write a petition and say, what the hell are you guys doing misusing our blasphemy law to cover up pedophilia and rape?
But why would you do that when you don't like the thing?
Because you might want to show that you're actually capable of practicing what you preach instead of doing nothing to live up to your principles and purposes.
In other words, we should support you so that you can come here and abuse us.
I'm not abusing you, I'm telling you the truth about it.
Oh, this is not abuse?
You use censor and suppress critics, that's hardly abuse, it's just a flat statement that Unitarian Universalists censor and suppress critics. Hang on, you're saying it's abuse. A church that spits in God's eye is actually entirely true based on not only how Reverend Ray Drennan behaved towards me, but based on the headline. The headline.
What God?
The one you obviously don't believe in. Figuratively speaking.
Which God are you talking about?
The one that Unitarian Universalists used to believe in at one point in time. The one that Thomas Jefferson. Yes, the Almighty one. Yes.
The one that you believe in.
The one that I know. Yes. No exists. I'm not saying I know everything about God, but I know that God exists. Yes. Yeah.
So why doesn't God help us?
God helps those who help themselves, and I'm helping myself, my friends.
By abusing us.
By telling the truth about you. I'm not abusing you.
Then why are you charged with blasphemy then?
I haven't been charged. I've been accused.
Accused?
Yes, accused. They can't charge me because it's a false charge. If they try to charge me, I will accuse them of public mischief.
So there you go.
So there I go. But the point being is, as a Unitarian, this should be of concern to you, but obviously it isn't.
No, I don't give a shit.
Exactly, you don't give a shit. Thank you. I think I'll end the video on that note.
See you later, Robin.
Yeah. Oh, I think I might keep it going. So that was David Horan, being the idiot that he usually is when he interacts with me. And I'm going to go back to talking about this because we still have a fair bit of time. So I just had a chat with David Horan, a Montreal Unitarian, who just showed just how incredibly willfully ignorant many Unitarian Universalists are, just how oblivious to their own claim, principles, and ideals they are. I mean, I asked him to name the 7th principle of Unitarian Universalism. He couldn't. I asked him to name the 2nd principle of Unitarian Universalism. He came up with a garbled version of the 4th principle. And you can just tell from what he said that he's totally unconcerned about the fact that American Unitarians are misusing and abusing Canadian blasphemy law in an effort to cover up and hide serious clergy sexual misconduct, specifically such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape. He doesn't care. Oh, it's not my problem. It's the Americans. I'm a Canadian. You know, the seventh principle of Unitarian Universalism calls for respect for the interdependent or interconnected web of all existence. Oh, well, it's south of the border, it's not my problem. You know, I am sure that if Americans were doing something else that affected Canadian justice issues, that David Horan might actually have a thing or two to say. But because it's Unitarian Universalists misusing and abusing our blasphemy law, oh, suddenly it's not his problem. Oh, suddenly, to use his own words, he doesn't give a shit. And this actually sums up, most ironically, the attitude of the UU movement, or the U*U movement. To use David Horan's own words, a whole lot of members in the U*U movement don't give a shit about clergy misconduct. They don't give a shit about all kinds of Unitarian Universalist injustices and abuses. And that's why I've been protesting here for 15 years. Because Unitarian Universalists don't give a shit about the various injustices, abuses, and hypocrisy that I'm protesting against. Oh, well, we can live with that. And then he accuses me of abusing Unitarian Universalists by protesting. I mean, does that sign there look like abuse? You use censor and suppress critics. Looks like a pretty straightforward statement to me, one that's absolutely true based on all kinds of evidence, not the least of it being the fact that 2 years ago today, I received an email accusing me of the crime of blasphemous libel for allegedly making unfounded and vicious allegations to the effect that ministers of the Unitarian Universalist Association engage in such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape. This is a perversion of justice. This is Lance Armstrong-style legal bullying that seeks to censor and suppress my criticism of egregious clergy sexual misconduct on the part of Unitarian Universalists. This is proof positive that Unitarian Universalists do in fact censor and suppress critics, or at least try to. But in my case, they have in fact been successful to some degree. In other words, Unitarian Universalists, whether it's the Unitarian Universalist Association, whether it's the Unitarian Church